Morning. Today is Saturday. It is the 26th of July. We are in Vermont. We are well north of the Five Bogs. We're little southeast of Manitou today, and we're going to be doing a run in here, following up on a site where there have been tracks for a few years, see if there's anything new in the way of activity that way, and record that and see what else we can do. If we can, we'll try to do some eDNA work too, but we're going to start by seeing if there's any new activity. So we're going to start with that, see where we go, and enjoy some fantastic scenery, if nothing else, today. So that's where we're at. Have a beverage and come on along on the video. We'll see what we find. Thanks. So I've been covering some ground. Sorry, I was remiss in remember. Oh yeah, you actually do have the means to make a video today, and a couple of things. Some technological, some on subject with Bigfoot. So this may be less than new information to you. This week I discovered eSIM cards, and I got one for areas that don't provide coverage for, in my case, Verizon, and there are spots in Vermont that are not exactly Verizon friendly, so I've been testing my my eSIM card, which ties into T-Mobile. They do seem to have a little bit of a better coverage. Here's where we are today. One of the more scenic areas, and where we're going is over that way to where the egress to the actual area we're targeting today, which is on the other side of this wooded stretch over here. And there's an area over there where there have been track finds before, and we're going to see if there's any new activity. So far, the coverage difference is interesting because in an area where Verizon will give me 4G and 2 bars, T-Mobile's giving me 5G and a stronger signal, but I still have that. Out here, the point is moot because you don't have a signal. Well, I have my Zoleo active, so I have a satellite signal, but I'm also paying attention to the tracks down here since this opens up. Finding anything there, pipe dream, out here in the lower parts of this. It'll be an oddity if I don't find a moose track or two, because that's kind of the norm, and there's one. Just to make the point. So there's that. As far as actual subject matter, I'm trying to think if there's any new goings on in the online community, but if all we're dealing with is like gossip shit, yeah, that's boring. You only grouse about that shit for so much. So we're gonna just, I guess, cover the play-by-play of what happens. If I remember right, ideally not there, but over there. Kind of like the path of least grabber bush infested shittery. Hello, little bird. We'll go from there. So again, you have the New York Bigfoot Conference where they are. I'm pretty sure it's a new thing. I'm aware, not to be confused again with the Whitehall Bigfoot contest or festival where they have the monster shouting contest, but who do they have again? They have Adam Davies, who, and he is more than welcome to disagree with me, but I feel like he was minimally manipulated by Matthew Johnson in the whole portal deal. Again, completely his prerogative to disagree with me should he see fit, but and then you have the standards for any conference: Cliff Barackman, Jeff Meldrum. There was another guy. Who the fuck was the other one? Renee Holland? Yeah, so the mainstays from Finding Bigfoot will be there. But considering it seems like this is a Mark DeWorth affair, that seems about right, because he and his Squatchachusetts buddies are in tight with those guys. So with that beeping is a Zolio response for anyone curious. All right, I gotta maneuver into this thick stuff, and then this is always the fun part, because I'm always trying to find the one spot where I don't have to go through a shit ton of grabber bullshit and open up to a fairly open area. Never seem to get this quite right. Let's try this. There you go, we'll do this. And we're gonna kind of take a segment break here just so I can maneuver through this and get to the other side. It's just easier to focus on that. So, my 2 test messages for Zolio: should I have something horrible back here, I can conceivably get airlifted out of here. Anyway, segment break time. On that happy note, we'll be back in a bit. So by easygoing, this is probably the best option you're going to have. Quick note though, for the people who want to think this is all stick structure shit, hopefully by now people are more better educated about that. This is deadfall. And to all those that are still trying to argue to the contrary, well, if I'm going to be blunt, fuck you for being the white noise. He's trying to find a suitable hole to get into the actual area over there. It's a little scrub brushy to get. It's not that far in, it's just thick. That's the bitch of it. Because I usually come in further over there. I'm looking for the easier way of making entry. And so far, it's definitely further to the right. You just gotta parallel through here more than I wanted to. It's right there. What the fuck? Why can't I just get there? Let's see. Fucking thing's trying to trip me. We seem to be going we're not lost, we're just not where we think we are. Where the fuck? I may turn around if this is going to get much more. I mean, I can literally see through over there, but that's like a long way to go through there. Defeating the purpose of finding the better shortcut. However, I'm just looking for the way through. Fuck you, mosquito. There's like a genuine hole over there. Okay. I'm going to make an argument, wardrobe-wise, for once I get to a clear area that's not all grabber shit. These, because I have no idea what kind of completely synthetic material they're out of, but they're nearly indestructible. You can march through this shit with them and effectively, I argue that if you had like jeans on, like even thicker, at some point they're going to get torn up in this area. These have yet to do so. And since I see a bald spot, unless it leads directly into knee-deep water, we're going to fucking take it so I can determine where on the wetland side we're popping out. Perhaps with stupidity, we'll factor in our return trip when we get there. At this point, just fuck the undergrowth. I'm done. Okay, we popped out here. We were way the fuck over there. Which is misleading. So I'm going to conduct a quick field experiment once I get to flattish ground. The other thing I was going to test today for a while, my model of phone and the firmware for the app for my drone were incompatible. I think I normally come out over there. And apparently DJI seems to have fixed that. So I'm going to, under controlled conditions here, see if I can get it in the air and have a look. So we're going to do that, and we'll be back. I can't do both at once, so that does in fact mean so we're back. Segment break. So we'll be back in a bit. Some of you may recognize this pond. We're going to go over that way to check out an area where there may or may not be some tracks. There have been in the past. So what you missed, the drone test successful. We have you're a big ass dragonfly. We have we're going to go this way. We have a intro from the air, so that's been a while, but we have that just to prove that DJI did fix for a long time they had a glitch, and they were saying that the Galaxy 22 wasn't compatible with DJI Go 4, which as an app is the older one. I get that. But you're also up against me being a cheap son of a bitch and not wanting to spend money on something I don't necessarily need. Considering all the newer drones are like over $1,000. Hello, frog. And the one I have works just dandy, so there really is no upgrade incentive when there's no reason to. I have the DJI Mini too, which if I need a faster moving, longer battery having drone, what is that right there? Is that a polywog? That's some kind of a salamander. You got newts in here. Okay, so you ever fucked for food, you got some kind of cheap protein in them, but we live in an age of mountain house and things like that, so you fucked up pretty good if you're this if you're in a relatively established national park and you didn't plan ahead. That's kind of on you. I notice a lot of them when I look in the water, though. There's one right there, if you can see them. I don't know if there's enough detail. There's two, actually. The pond is like basically infested with these little dudes. There's another one. They're like all over the place. You make any movement and there's like 4 or 5 of them kind of wiggling around in there. Cool. Because that is also the healthy sign of a healthy biome or ecosystem in here, if you want a little random forestry fact. The signature species, as they're called, are usually amphibians, frogs, salamanders, that kind of thing. Toads. Because their skin can't absorb pollutants, so if you have a healthy population of them and they're not all mugly and deformed and shit, then the ecosystem is doing pretty good. So gotta remember my way through this, because you gotta loop, kind of like follow the contour of the river here. I mean, you're not gonna get lost, it's right there, but it's just I gotta remember, because it's been a few months since I've been here. I think you pop in through here and get your legs all wet from the morning mountain dew. Excuse me. Well, I consider my navigational trek, I might take another break. Let me just see how easy I'm going to get up there, around there. Maybe this is doable. It's going to be pokey a little bit, but maybe more so than I thought. Yeah, I'm going to take a segment break real quick because I'm kind of surrounded. I'm going to get up over this log. I'll be back in a sec. It looks a little easier. There was just not really any reason to go through all that. There is a way through here a little easier and more opened up that you can go. Because as long as you can hear and see the river over there, and we're going this way more or less, following a 45-degree angle to it, we're not going to get turned around, because you pretty much have to go up a hill and a steep one to get deeper into the woodwork of this place. And having never put this theory to the test, mind you, the AT is in theory somewhere off that way. I don't know how far, but if you did get turned around and you had no other thought on how to get back, you could, in theory, go that route and pop out there. And then the bad news being you got quite a ways to hike to dig your way out. But hold on. Moose, but quick check for moose hair for eDNA, but it's right near moose tracks, but that one could be potentially interesting. Keep an eye on that. But head forward, head butt through, and then it opens up again. And then you kind of just zigzag over here to the opening. This might even be parallel to where the tracks were. You're kind of not doing what you normally did, but you're also still relatively near where the water is. I'm also going to wager $10 when I get back. I'm going to probably plan a different route out of here. I do so fucking hate rubber bushes. I really do. They are the most obnoxious form of shit in the Northeast, I dare say. Anyway, enough idle bitching. Let's maneuver through, because what I'm wanting is actually over here. So we got there a thoroughly roundabout way, but we're probably 20 feet from what I'm looking for. One sec. I just wanted to, it's like a big X if you look at it right over there, for the stick structure crowd. Probably completely natural, but you're always going to have that one guy in the crowd who will challenge you on that because they have the secret knowledge. Well, granted, the secret knowledge is bullshit, but let them have their fun. Okay. Deer flies notwithstanding, although they're not nearly as bad as they were, as I jinxed myself completely a couple of years ago. Maybe because got the dragonflies about. Hello, frog. You hyper little bitch. I will never have a quarrel with dragonflies because they literally eat all the annoying shit that tries to bite you and suck your blood. They are little T-Rexes with wings, and you know what? God bless them for being so, because they just keep the other biting menace, like the guy trying to find a spot on my neck. I may have to reapply because the fact he's getting braver may mean I need to redeet. All right, this is all overgrown, so I'm going to give this a once over. This may be a bust. I'll look a little further, but I think This, try to remember, I think, no, because I've been here later in the year too. I just think this is just a overgrown period of the year. If they had more rain in here, then the grass is just higher. Could just be as simple as that. But yet, you look at this, and you evil little shit, fucking die. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reapply. But oh, jeepers Christ, I jinxed myself. All right, so I'm gonna get back over to a level spot where I can dismount the pack and see what I'm doing and reapply some bug spray, because these little shits are being insufferable again. And to the dragonflies, you want to have a good healthy lunch? Come on, don't let me stop you. All right, so I'll be back in a bit after I do that, and then I'm going to plot my evil next move. But as of right now, this looks to be a bust. Pretty mountain flowers. Rex Spider House, sorry buddy. We're going to start working our way back and making it easier. Yeah, so unfortunately, this area is a bust. There is another area, if I go back through the woodland to the original meadow and start working my way back that way. There is a probable, well, there's another pond on the other side. It's not as scenic, but it's still habitat, and we're gonna get through this shit, and we're not going the hard way this time. So I claim. You can almost see where a moose has come through here 6 and 7 times, though. Kind of ground down a relative path through at least some of the... Why does it always look easier when you're higher up? You know what? We're going to hug the water line. This is proving deceptive. As much I should be putting the camera down for this, but we're obviously not doing that. All right. Or for all I know, maybe this looks tamer from a spectator point of view, but the trick is not being able to see your foot placement, and if you step into a dip or something, that's where that can be hazardous. Let's see where the path of least resistance may or may not be. It's not that you're going a long way, it's just the nature of getting to and fro is a pain in the fucking rear. Pardon my French. We'll try this way, and hopefully it doesn't pose me too soon. Of course, in theory, you just try to work with the rocks. Again, foot placement. Lots of ferns, which No, this is not working. Abort sort of this way. Well, better foot placement. You're still kind of going with the grain. Just trying to avoid stepping into that. There's like a stream bed right there too. So, ow! You son of a bitch! Always get that one. I can never walk out of here without a good jab to the leg. You know, it's almost worth just getting in the water and wading through this shit. Is this level ground? Not a sudden fall? Good. That spike to the leg hurt. Okay. Can you get the fuck out of my way? Okay, so the bad news is we took the wrong way, so there will be cursing. And again, why I'm not putting the camera down is a matter of, because I'm kind of swinging it around trying to bat things out of my way. But if I can get to right that, we're fine again. Grabber bushes, fuck you one and all. But, okay. Moving on. Probably having lost 90% of the DEET I just put back on me too. Important thing is the 38 still in the holster, so losing that out here would be not just inconvenient, but a whole bureaucratic mess reporting it stolen, lost, whatever. Or you just go on a hard market search. Hello, toad. That is a toad. Say hello to the toad. Carry on, buddy. Again, a sign of a healthy ecosystem. Okay. Stay to the high ground. Dodge the leg pokers and head down here, more or less sort of kind of where I came in. Or say F that noise and find a better spot without all that shit in your way. Like kind of over here. You just get to the point where you're bored with things in your way and trying to poke and trip you and shit. And to that end, excuse me, that sounds like I'm dying. Okay. Stop walking stupid. Get foot placement back on solid ground. Regain your bearings and your composure. I keep seeing those little ripples out there. This is probably a decent fishing spot too. Anyway, I am going to take a segment break, cover ground back that way, and ponder a different track reading spot if one occurs to me, and we'll reconvene. We'll be back again once in the back and other side of that. There is no straightforward way through. You just best combination of angling you can realistically do. Nature of the beast. And working our way through that stuff. Heading back from where we started, which is over there, that little opening, if you can see it. Right there. Whew. Taking the view. Not saying much because I'm a little winded. I'd be curious to have a scientific measurement of what the level of calorie burn is walking through crap like this, because you're not just walking, it's pulling at you, so it's like resistance walking. It's almost like a form of irregular isometric exercise. Part you're open like this, and then you go back into the thick stuff and it pulls at you again. And I'll admit I'm kind of walking through the easy part as long as I can. Squishy though it might be. Switching the load from my quads to my calves. But so I think it's over there. You do like a quick scramble over some logs, then you're back to a fairly tame trail and things aren't so sucky. So to facilitate that, I'm going to stop here, do a quick pan for you guys, and we're going to make our way back in there. So another segment break. You're used to them by now.